Massive cuts in UK government spending are inevitable. This is the official verdict of the Office for Budget Responsibility in its review of the government's economic policy. And these cuts will occur whether the Conservatives or Labour are in power after the next election. The OBR has reviewed UK tax and spending policy in its Economic and Fiscal Outlook for March 2024. The OBR is the government fiscal watchdog. It's independent, but it is a governmental body. It's not a think tank. The OBR notes that overall there will be no real growth in departmental spending over the next 5 years. The OBR goes on to find that given the government's commitment to increase spending for certain government departments, that this implies a real cut in all other departments' budgets, a cut of 2.3% a year. After more than a decade of government austerity, the UK has so many problems. Public services are creaking, they're fragile, they've been cut to the bone. Future cuts are absolutely devastating. This chart shows that government spending will basically be flat over the next 5 years, shown by the blue line. The red line shows the increase for the departments that will have some increase in spending, the so-called protected spending. So the OBR is identifying that by definition, the spending that's not protected, the red line, will fall significantly. So where will the cuts be? Examples of where there will be cuts include justice, where there's already a massive backlog in court cases. How will this be improved? How will the overcrowding and poor conditions of prisons be turned around? For local government, I did a recent video on underfunding of local government and how many local councils are in the process of going bust. How will local governments be able to maintain public services when they're already in a desperate state and their funding is being cut even further? It means cuts in spending for the Home Office, which will affect immigration policy. How is that going to help in improving the massive backlog in asylum applications? And there will be cuts in further education. It's all just really sad and depressing. The UK is experiencing massive poverty and inequality. Cuts will be devastating. Even in the protected areas where we'll see an increase, the increase is going to be modest. It won't solve the problems. Areas like health and schools need massive increases in funding. Is there some hope ahead? We're likely to have a change in government this year. The Labour Party will be in charge, so will things be different under them? Well, unfortunately not. They're committed to the same fiscal targets. They've got no plans to increase spending, no plans to increase tax. Both parties have very similar economic policies. They're just relying on growth to solve the economy's problems, but without any real policies to encourage economic growth. Politics in the UK is too short term, too much about getting elected, too much about getting the right headlines. This is irresponsible, incompetent and cruel economic policy. We deserve a lot better. I hope you found this information useful. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing. I'd really appreciate that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.